Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to invite the speaker, Dr. Latha H S, who will talk about integrated nutrient management in major field crops. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Yes, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Latha, Senior Scientist, Agronomy, working as a senior scientist in Dryland Agriculture Project since 2021. Before that, I was working with US Raichur. So now we are going to discuss about integrated nutrient management in major field crops. This is our topic of today. Am I audible to all, madam?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, yes. Okay, fine. I'll just move to this second slide. I don't know why the slides are not moving. Wait a minute, madam. Let me. I'm going to. Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Production. Yeah, there is the increasing demand in the food for the increased population. That's why food production is also in the increasing trend. And the next slide, we could see that there is increased utilization of the nutrients, that is especially fertilizers per unit area, like kg per hectare across the country. We have listed here few of the states. So among them, Andhra Pradesh is having highest fertilizer consumption. So next to the next Punjab comes under this highest fertilizer consumption, and next the Karnataka. All over India, we could see 144 kg per hectare as the nutrients or the fertilizers are being utilized for the crop production. And coming to the nutrient ratios, if you could see, so nutrient ratio that is being crop is completely changed from the beginning years in 1972 2008-9 scenario. So it has changed. That's why, so there is a mismanagement of the nutrients for crop production. With this table we can understand. And fertilizer antagonism, sometimes what happens, which we some nutrients like nitrogen, potassium, or sodium. These are the nutrients which we use in excess. What happens? Like if you use the nitrogen, so potassium will be the antagonistic. It won't be available to the crop plants. And if you use the potassium in higher quantity into the crop production, then we are going to see that the nitrogen, calcium, and magnesium are the antagonistic. They won't be available to the crop plants. In the same way, sodium is being utilized in a higher quantity, then potassium, calcium, magnesium will be antagonistic. They won't be available to the crop plants. Likewise, fertilizers or the nutrients are having their antagonistic characters, so that we should have to use these fertilizers or the nutrients in a judicious manner. That's why where integrated nutrient management teaches so how to use these things. And there are about 17 plant nutrients are essential for crop production. That is very important. One has to understand there are 17 essential nutrients. Like human beings, how many nutrients are essential for the normal functioning of the human being. In the same way, plants will have to function in a proper way, means so proper yielding and proper growth, development, everything. 17 essential nutrients are very much required for the crop plants to perform. Okay, in the same way, excuse me madam, I need to take this call. Hello, hello. ಹೇಳಿ. ಸರ್ ತಗೊಂಡೆ. ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. Yes, sorry for the inconvenience, and I'll just go through the next slide. Yes, so these are the nutrients. So there are about 17 nutrients, major nutrients. These are the major nutrients. NPK are the major nutrients. Apart from that, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are also major nutrients. They are present in the atmosphere, in the water, as well as in the soil. We need not to apply these nutrients through fertilizer, but these things from the nutrient from fourth are, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Then almost all the micronutrients, they are all essential for the crop production, proper functioning of the crop. Then we should have to manage them in a judicious way. Okay, this is also same thing, that is the major nutrients, secondary nutrients, and micronutrients, like that. And again, so if any one of these nutrients are deficient, and there will be reduction in the production. And in this table, so we could see the emerging nutrient deficiencies. So in the year 2025, this year, we don't know which element is being deficit from the soil. Almost all the nutrients are being become deficit in the soil for the crops. Not, they are not available. That's why we need to manage them in a judicious way through integrated nutrient management practices. And the same here, like see here, this particular pie chart show make you to understand the nutrient addition. So this much nitrogen we are applying to a greater quantity, rather comparing to the phosphorus and potassium among the major nutrients. But in the soil, exactly what happens means, so only potassium is being absorbed and uptaken by the crop in the larger quantity, rather nitrogen and phosphorus. That's why, so we need to bridge this problem through integrated nutrient management, because here nutrient addition is not matching with the nutrient removal. That is where the INM practices in the major crops will talk about correcting the these kind of problems. Okay, and also we could see here. So see here, the many nutrient deficiencies we could see in a particular crop or the plant, multi-nutrient deficiencies also they are expressing in different symptoms. Like if we find that nitrogen deficiency in the older leaves and potassium deficiency in the middle leaves, that is purpling of the leaves, and phosphorus is again a purpling of the leaves, and nitrogen is yellowing of the leaves, the older leaves, and drying of the margin leaf from the tip itself is the potassium deficiency. And these deficiency symptoms for the different elements are goes through like this. And I'm going to leave this particular slide for better understanding to you, with you only. And present scenario in hall, that is fertilizer cost is being escalated in the industry, and indiscriminate use of the fertilizer, even though cost is more, but farmers are having more usage of these fertilizer. This is the myth that so they are having that if we apply more fertilizer, we are going to harvest more the yield. That was the thing, that is a myth with them. That's why we need to break that myth. So by practicing integrated nutrient management, they should go for INM practices, then only it will be more yield can be possible to obtain, like that. And availability of organic manure is again a problem for the farmers for usage, and multi micronutrient deficiency in the soil is widespread. These are the present scenarios. Why we should go for INM means we should have to go for these things in our mind, then we should go for INM practices. Okay, then yes, these are the new soil type and their problems in India. So water erosion of the soil is more, wind erosion is again a problem, acidic soil, waterlogged conditions, saline alkali soils, shifting cultivation, ravines and gully formation, all these are threatening for the soil health actually. So that's why, so our main motto is that with all this problem only we have to grow the crops, means we should go for integrated farming, integrated nutrient management practices. So let's see here in this particular photograph, make you to understand in soybean crop, continuous long term use of only chemical fertilizer, then it will lead to unhealthy crop. So not proper cropping, not proper crop stand could be seen here. So like that, that is a thing. And why the crop yield is declining nowadays also, we could see imbalance of the nutrients in the soil. Yeah, as I told, that there is a multi-nutrient deficiency and adverse soil reaction due to the usage of nitrogenous fertilizers only. This is also one has to remember. And buildup of certain nutrients resulting in ion antagonism. Certain elements, as I already told, antagonistic reaction of certain elements which we use more in quantity leads to the deficiency of other element, like that. And deleterious effect of soil microorganisms also, if you use more fertilizer nutrients, so definitely it will be having adverse effect on this soil microbiota. And reduced application of secondary and micronutrients due to use of synthetic chemically pure fertilizer, decline in soil organic matter status, buildup of certain diseases and pests and weeds. So decline in the soil health due to intensive cultivation. All these are the reasons for why the crop yields are declining nowadays, especially among them nutrient related the problems are more for these things. Okay, so let us think that. So in order to address all these, in order to address all this, what is the probable alternative things for this? There's the integrated nutrient management practices are the main thing. So we have to go for in order to address all these problems for enhancing the crop yield. So let's understand what is INM. Integrated management, nutrient management is a practice of supplying the nutrients requirement of the crops through different sources. Right sources in right proportion and right combination for sustaining soil quality and productivity. This is our INM. Means it is in a simple way we can say INM is nothing but it envisages the use of chemical fertilizer in conjunction with the organic manures, biofertilizer, suitable crop rotation on a cropping system and other locally available resources. So this is how. we should have to, in conjugation with the chemical fertilizer, we have to use organic biofertilizer and other crop residue, and including crop rotation, everything. So in a right proportion, that is where INM says to us. And let's see what are the objective of INM. So to reduce the dependency on chemical fertilizer, to maintain productivity on sustainable basis without affecting the soil health, and to conserve locally available resources and utilize them, to reduce the gap between nutrients and used and nutrients harvested, to improve soil physical, chemical and biological properties, to make soil healthy and provide balanced nutrition, and to overcome or reduce ill effects of continuous use of only chemical fertilizer, and to improve economical status of the farmer finally, and to increase the fertilizer use efficiency. Yeah, this is very important objectives. All these are the very important objectives of the integrated nutrient management, where the fertilizer use efficiency is targeting that is higher yield per unit quantity of fertilizer utilized for crop production. And coming to the basic principles of INM, maintain the soil fertility. First and foremost thing is one has to maintain the soil fertility, and second thing is sustain agriculture productivity. Yes, sustainable agriculture production is very important aspects, whereas wherein the INM taking a major role in sustaining the productivity of a particular soil, and improve profitability and judicious and efficient use of inputs. So this is also very important principle one has to remember. One has, and coming to the components of integrated nutrient management, your fertilizers are the major component. Apart from that, organics are the major component. I do say it is very important component for maintaining the proper soil healthy. Healthy soil will be maintained by application of lot of organics to the soil, and green manures are the main thing for soil fertility management, soil health management, especially for the dryland ecosystem, and also crop rotation as a key to sustainability. Yes, instead of going for monocropping, we should go for crop rotation. Then we can enhance the soil fertility and productivity, and sustain the soil health. And crop residue management, instead of burning the crop residue, so we should go for better utilization of the these crop residue as a source of nutrient in INM. So, and use utilization of biofertilizers are one of the important things, where they are mediated in N fixation, K mobilization, and mobilization, phosphorus mobilization, potassium mobilization, and also solubilization of these nutrients, and also decaying or conversion of these organic residue into available form. That's why these biofertilizers are also one of the important components in integrated nutrient management practices. Okay, so this is a pictorial thing wherein different components of integrated farming, integrated nutrient management, where manurial compost, organic manures, farm waste, chemical fertilizer, green manuring, biofertilizer, crop residue, and leguminous crops all are the integral part of the integrated nutrient management practices. Okay, apart from that, liquid organic manures will also come under this particular category in the organic manures. So let us see one by one. What is this organic manures? Animal dung is a major organic source, is valued 7.2 million tons of NPK fertilizer. About 70% of the animal dung is used as a fuel, and 30% is converted as FIM. And this FIM contains the nutrients, major nutrients, especially 0.5 to 1% of nitrogen, 0.3 to 0.6% of E2O5, 0.5 to 0.7% of K2O. And benefits of this organic manure, especially it improves the soil physical, chemical and biological properties, and overall the soil health is maintained. And coming to the green manure, so it can be practiced during the pre-monsoon period, where in situ green manuring and ex situ green manuring will be there, where Sannem and Dainja and most of the short duration leguminous crops acting as a green manuring in situ, where we have to grow them in a pre-monsoon season, and they need to be incorporated into the soil for about 40 to 60 days period. When they attain 40 days after sowing, we have to incorporate them into the soil. And leguminous crops which fixes 100 kgs of nitrogen per hectare in about 60 days period, so it can increase to 200 kg per hectare also if we properly manage these leguminous crops. And again, ex situ green manuring is normally green leaf manuring, we say. Many of the leguminous trees which are growing on the bunds and border of the cropped field, they need to bring, like for example, Glaricidia, Subabul, and Erythrina, Melia dubia. All these needs to be brought to the our main field and incorporated into the soil during the cropping period. That is also one of the thing. So in India, more than 100 million tons of crop residue are and again, one of the important thing is crop residue. Apart from the green leaf manuring, one of the major thing is crop residue, wherein in India more than 100 million tons of crop residue are available for use for the agriculture as a source of nutrients. They contain zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6 and 1.5 million tons of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium respectively. So these crop residues are vast generation, especially in India. Paddy straw, wheat straw, and stems or the stalks of the pigeon pea, stalks of cotton. All these things to be utilized as a crop residue as a source of nutrients. They are having an enormous potentiality to overcome the fertilizer dependency. And another important thing is the biofertilizer. The biofertilizer, they fixes atmospheric nitrogen to the tune of 50 to 60 kg nitrogen per hectare, especially in symbiotic way. Rhizobium is one of the important thing, where we see these rhizobium in the root nodules of the legume crop or the Fabaceae family, where we can see the potentiality of nitrogen fixation by these legumes is 150 to 200 kg nitrogen per hectare per year. This is where these are having a highest potentiality. And also phosphorus solubilizing microorganism like Pseudomonas, Aspergillus, Bacillus, Megatherium. All these are helpful for solubilizing the phosphorus which are fixed into the soil. And vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza is one of the important and very useful microorganism which mobilizes the phosphorus from the deeper layer of the soil to the crop roots. So these are the biofertilizer we can use. And see the response of pulses to the integrated nutrient management practices. One of the study for about longer period, 1973 to 1996 period, the study says that so integrated nutrient management, that is application of chemical fertilizer along with the FIM, that resulted in increase in the yield of the crop. So to the tune of 27.76%, highest increase in the yield in this particular treatment we could come across for longer period. And that's why this INM is said to be as a holistic approach, which involves the requirement of the plants for an optimum level of production, different forms of nutrients to be applied to the soil at the optimum time and by the best possible method. Also the application of the nutrient, the right source is as important, and right method of application of the nutrient is also very much important. That's why INM says that the right method and right source and right method of application of the nutrients is very important. for the better results. Okay, let us see here the components of the INM influencing factors. Like all these are already we have discussed, no need to go with again. So cropping system, yeah, one of the important component in INM is crop rotation and following the cropping system. INM takes into account the cropping system as a whole rather the individual crops in the system itself. So this INM refers both for both the crops, like in the pre-monsoon one crop and regular monsoon one crop and the Rabi one crop, like that. Entire cropping system will be there, or in the intercropping system, how we best manage the nutrient that talks about with the INM in cropping system rather than the individual crop in the season. And again, phosphorus is again a residual effect we could see. So we need to see the phosphorus residues which are there in the soil that needs to be again made into solubilized and utilized for the crops, and nitrogen contribution to the because of the leguminous crop. So yes, exactly, nitrogen fixation from the leguminous crop through symbiotic nitrogen fixation will be more. We have to harness the potentiality of the nitrogen fixation from the leguminous crop is one of the important thing. That's why it means to say that inclusion of the leguminous crop into the cropping system as an intercrop or the sequential crop is very much important rather going for the single crop itself. Okay, some crops show selective uptake of some nutrient. This is also very important thing. That's why so intercropping and sequential cropping is very much important for the thing in order to have a better nutrient management in the field crops. Okay, then organic manures and benefits, all these things are this thing. And one of the photographs showing that so this particular photographs has come from the long term experiment in the GKVK itself, that is only NPK utilized crop, the finger millet crop is showing this kind of appearance rather. So this particular photograph that shows that FIM plus 100% NPK fertilizer. FIM, 10 tons of FIM is recommended for the finger millet crop, and 100% NPK, that is 50 kgs of nitrogen and 40 kg in phosphorus and 37.5 kgs of potassium, which we apply 100% NPK fertilizer. This is how the crop looks like. This is the difference we could see pictorially from first photo to the second photo. So this is how INM works in the crops. And again, this is one more thing, that is FIM alone itself, if you apply for long period of time, then this is how the healthiness of the crop. Only organically we maintain the nutrient management practices through organic manure, only FIM for the longer period. This is how the crop healthiness we could see, because of there are increased soil beneficial factors like physical, chemical, and biological factors are being beneficial and supportive to the crops. That is where so this happens here. And again, this is another photograph showing that so groundnut crop, groundnut only with the NPK is its appearance look is like this. And let's see here the FIM, 10 tons of FIM per hectare for a longer period of time if we manage the nutrients through only organics. So this is how the crop looks like, how healthy it looks like, we could witness. Okay, in the same way, integrated nutrient management here, FIM plus 100% NPK, it is also showing very good appearance and very good yield. The healthiness of the crop we could see, we can make out with this picture. Okay, and soybean here only with the organic menus we could see here. So the only organic menus, it does not make much of the thing. Okay, so yeah, green menus or the green leaf menus also, as I told, they contribute a lot many things for the nutrient management. And even we could see in some of the orchard crops like mango, sapota, guava, and all, we have to manage the nutrients in a judicious way, that is utilization of the potentiality of the green manuring. Green manuring, in situ green manuring in the orchard crops is a very good option for the farmers to manage the healthy soil and healthy productivity. That is in the mango garden cultivation of the cowpea crop, that will not only supplies the nutrients but also suppress the weeds in the orchard in the wider spaced area. Okay, in the same way it is in the coconut garden. So the sun nymph is being cultivated has a green leaf manuring or in situ green manuring. And also in the same way, they see in the same picture, in between the two rows of coconut, so the wider area can be best utilized for cultivation of these crops like a green insidu green manuring crop. And later when they attain 40 days after sowing, they needs to be properly incorporated into this soil. And again the green leaf manuring, as I told, in the border and bunds of the dryland area where subabul and glycidia are being cultivated, and where they can be best utilized as a green leaf manuring. They can bring brought to the original cropped area and they can put into the main field for integrated nutrient management. Right. See here in this photograph, we could see your green leaf manure, that is glycidia is being applied into the main field where the crops are being cultivated. So it is the photo showing that leaf manuring glycidia is being incorporated into the soil. So this is already incorporated in this is all happening in the pre-monsoon period, where there should be proper moisture in the soil so that the cultivation will happen. So then this is only green leaf glycidia as a green leaf manure being utilized, being applied and grown. Soybean is a test crop is grown in this. The performance of soybean we could see in this photograph. And crop residue biofertilizer, and one of the important thing component is the tank silt. Recommended dose of this tank silt to the tune of 20 to 30 tons per hectare once in 3 years application, whenever the tanks or the village ponds are being there. So we need to best utilize of those fertile soil or what we say, that is tank silt to our main field, so that it will correct most of the deficiencies. Okay, and response of the crops in INM. This is one of the study that shows that integrated nutrient management, that is FIM, along with the 100% NPK, that leads to the higher yield of finger millet crop and the higher sustainability yield index we could see with this. Okay, and again another study it make you to understand that NPK plus FIM long term experiment, that make you to understand the 27.76 quintals of soybean crop and wheat crop to the tune of 18.6. So this is the productivity enhancement we could see, rather comparing to the other nutrient treatments. Okay, so and again coming to the steps of the balanced and integrated nutrient management practices, let us go with this flow chart. What it says: assessment of on-farm and off-farm resources availability. First and foremost thing, before going to integrated nutrient management practices, first we should understand, we should assess how much is the crop residue, how much is the on-farm generated waste is available with us. And secondly, fixing of yield targets depending on the resource availability and water. So we have to fix the yield target. Okay, maybe per hectare 20 tons or 30 tons. Like that, we have to fix the yield target based on our resources and the water availability, and soil test based application of the nutrients and amendments. So we should see soil test based. So we should once in two crops, every two crops, once in every 3 crops we should go for soil test. Then based on that we need to go for nutrient application and amendments for deficiency corrections, or even the gypsum application, or calcium application, calcium gypsum. These are called as a amendment. Soil amendments means soil acidity and soil basicity, like a soil acidic soil or basic soil, like that we know that now. So that will be being corrected with the help of this amendments. And later on, optimum time and method of application of the nutrients and adoption of efficient soil and water conservation measures. That is also very important thing. Don't allow our soil to get eroded with the water. That is one thing we need to consider in our mind. In one among the important practice in INM is that the protecting our soil from the soil erosion. That's why we need to go for proper conservation practices, and also monitoring soil fertility in terms of physical, chemical, and biological properties and processes. So all these things need to be done. That itself is the integrated nutrient management practices. Okay, some of the limitations we could see. I need not to tell about the limitations. Yes, availability, small holding will be there, and poor infrastructure facility, and lack of participatory approach, and non-availability of organic manures in a large quantity. All these are the limitations, but also so potentialities are more rather than the limitations, I could say, as of now. Okay, then INM studies in Ranchi, these are the research studies. So INM practices are showing more yield and more soil, good soil properties and good soil health properties and all, rather having a only chemical practices. Okay, so let us see nutrient budgeting also very important in case of integrated nutrient management practices. So nutrient budgeting is nothing but the crop uptake, and how much nutrients we are adding to the soil at the time of sowing, how much nutrients we are adding through different means, and what is the amount of nutrient uptake from the plant, and also how much nutrient which is present in the soil after the harvest of the crop. This is how we need to have a sheet, a balance sheet with us, where nutrient uptake, nutrient addition, nutrient uptake, and nutrient available, all these things which we are aware of, that then we can manage the nutrients in integrated way for the next crop also in the next season. That is one thing. And let us see, this is in Canada, where important crops are having the different nutrient scenario in Karnataka. So these are the nutrient recommendations. Like for paddy crops, it is the 40 kg per acre basis. It is 40 kg of nitrogen and 20 kg phosphorus, and potassium is 20 kg, and zinc is 8 kg. And again, Jover, in dryland situation, 20 kg is the uh, recommended nitrogen, and 10 kg is the phosphorus, and potassium is not recommended, but nowadays it is also required. So 20 kgs of potassium is required for the sorghum crop also, and zinc is as usual 6 kg is required. And this particular crop, maize is also required with the respect of like nitrogen to the tune of 40, and 20 kgs of phosphorus, and 10 kgs of potassium. Likewise, many crops are having almost one are the same. That is the ratio, like 20 to 4 is to 2 is to 2, or 4 is to 2 is to 1 ratio, like that. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium requirement. Apart from that, zinc is also being recommended for these crops, both in the rainfed and irrigated situation. Okay, so this is our nutrient requirement, nutrient recommendation for the crops. And most of the crops, like uh, this thing, leguminous crops are having less nutrient recommendation as compared to the cereals, because they fixes atmospheric nitrogen, we know that. That's why, so nutrient requirement for the pulses by external method is lesser than the cereal crops. Okay, so and see this here. So and integrated nutrient management practices for the crops like paddy, 4 tons of organic manures, and biological biofertilizer like azospirillum 400 gram, or azola is also recommended here, that is 20 tons like that. And even NPK fertilizer like 40 20 20, 40 kg nitrogen, 20 kg phosphorus, and 20 kg potassium. And apart from that, 10 kg zinc sulfate is being applied for the crop. And for maize, also 4 ton of FIM. And apart from that, 60 kg nitrogen, 30 kg phosphorus, and 16 kg potassium for 1 acre under the irrigated condition. And for the dryland condition, 40 20 10 is the NPK for one season of the maize crop. Apart from that, 10 kgs of zinc sulfate is recommended for the maize crop, both in irrigated and rain fed situation. And for the finger millet crop, 4 ton FIM and azospirillum 400 gram, and 40 20 20 under irrigated condition is the NPK fertilizer. And again 20 15 15 for rainfed situation. And for the leguminous crops, like a very important leguminous is pigeon pea. Pigeon pea requires 3 tons of FIM and 400 grams of rhizobium, and 400 grams of PSV, and 10 kg 20 kg 10 kg. This is 10 20 10 is the NPK fertilizer. Apart from that, zinc and sulfur, 8 kgs of sulfur and 10 kgs of zinc, we have to give them in as a basal dose itself. All these nutrients, apart from that, biofertilizer and organic manures need to be applied at the time of sowing. And again, this one groundnut, 4 tons of FIM is required. And apart from that, rhizobium to the tune of 400 grams, and chemical fertilizer under irrigated condition 10 30 15. So like that, so we have to apply. So, and for the important crops like this one sugarcane, it requires 10 tons of FIM. And this biofertilizer Astobacter 2 kgs per hectare, or azospirillum 2.5 kg per hectare. And again, Bacillus megatherium, this is phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, which is required to the tune of 10 kg per hectare. The biofertilizer requirement in the sugarcane is more as compared to these other cereals. And chemical fertilizer, 100 kg nitrogen, 40 kg phosphorus, and 50 kg potassium per hectare per acre is required. So that's why we need to split into this one. This we need to split in different phases. That is that 10% of the total fertilizer as a basal, and 20% as a sixth week after sowing, and 30% 10th week after sowing, and 40% is need to be applied on 14th week after sowing, like that. So we should have to plan and schedule our fertilizer application to the long duration crops like sugarcane. So this 140 and 50 kg of NPK is required for 1 hectare of sugarcane crop. And even cotton requires 5 tons per hectare, and 40 25 25 kg per hectare NPK fertilizer. And this 50% of recommended dose of nitrogen need to be applied at 60 days after sowing. And later on, so after 60 days, we need to apply remaining 50%. 50% as a basal, and remaining 50% as a top dressing at 60 days after sowing we need to. And again, so this thing is will be a repetition. And as I told, this azola for the paddy. So application of azola to the crop like paddy and irrigated crops, in irrigated condition, if we grow this azola along with the paddy crop, that meets out the amount of FIM requirement to the crop. Like it is going to add on to 15 to 20 tons of organic matter requirement by the paddy crop. Okay, and this is how this integrated nutrient management in the paddy we say. So azola can also be helpful. See azola cultivation, which is there in the field itself, and vermicompost can also be used if you are having a vermicompost, vermiculture, and all that facility. We can convert our crop residue into a valuable manure, vermi composting. So that vermicompost is having its own advantages and having a growth promoting substances apart from the nutrients that will enhance the crop growth. That is one thing. And top dressing in real time nutrient management by using these leaf color charts, green color leaf color charts, especially in the paddy and sugarcane as well as in the maize crop. So then, based on the color comparison with the real time crop stand, then we need to apply the nitrogen fertilizer to the crops like paddy, maize, and sugarcane crops. And so another meter, handled meters, pad meter, where it gives the reading of the chlorophyll content. Chlorophyll content is nothing but the greeniness of the leaves. If chlorophyll content is more, then the values of the pad reading will be more. Then no need for going for this additional top dressing of the nutrients. If the value is less, definitely we should have to go for, we need to apply. So okay, so we need to apply the chemical fertilizer through urea or DAP, like that we need to apply. Especially for top dressing, we need to depend on the urea only. Or for nowadays foliar sprays of nutrients are available, we should have to go for the foliar application. So as I told, most of the field crops they require the nutrients, and apart from that, so the cereals, yeah, what we say, smaller millets or the minor small millets or the minor millets, or so nutri millets like foxtail millet and proso millet. Then what we say, this barnyard millet and the little millet. Then arka we say it is a code millet. All these millets, they require less of the nutrients, though they require the nutrients. We need to apply organic manure to the tune of 2 tons per acre. And this chemical fertilizer, nitrogenous fertilizer per acre 20 kg, and phosphorus is 20 kg per acre. So we need to apply and manage the nutrients in a proper way. Then only we could get the proper yield, better crop stand, and better yield into the crop. And coming to the oil seeds like sunflower is very important oil seed crop apart from the groundnut. So we should have to apply FIM to the tune of 3 tons per acre. Apart from that, 200 kg biofertilizer azoospermum is required, and so we need to also apply so these chemical fertilizer in terms of urea, SSP, and MOP fertilizer to the tune of 27.2 kgs of urea as a basal dose, and SSP to the tune of 187.5 kg, and potash to the tune of 41.7 kg, and as a top dressing only nitrogen through urea. So we need to apply 27 kg at the 35 days after sowing. This is how, so we need to manage the integrated nutrient management in case of oilseed crop, especially sunflower. Okay, so then cotton, groundnut is there. So yes, groundnut rhizobium is very important thing. 150 grams of groundnut, the biofertilizer rhizobium is required. Apart from that, PSP is also required to the tune of 400 gram. And again, we need to apply chemical fertilizer. Apart from that, organic manure 4 tons per acre. So this is how the NPK 10 kg nitrogen and 30 kg phosphorus, potash to the tune of 15 kg, and secondary and micronutrients like zinc 4 kg per acre, and borax 4 kg per acre is required. So this is how we need to go. So and the same way, so if you could see this important pulse crop, we see it as a uh, what do we say, pigeon pea or togri in Kannada. So where we say the rhizobium role is very important because it is a long duration leguminous crop. It fixes atmospheric nitrogen in presence of symbiotic nitrogen fixation. Rhizobium 200 gram is required, and the PSP is also required to the tune of 200 gram. And again, this one 3 tons of FIM and NPK fertilizer 10 20 10 kgs of NPK, and sulfur to the tune of 8 kg, and zinc sulfate to the tune of 6 kilograms. So this is how, so we need to manage the nutrients in a balanced way by combination of different organics, biofertilizer and chemical fertilizer, and right time, right source, and right method of application is very important in almost all the field crops. Then only it is possible to manage the soil in a healthier way, so that healthier soil will help to produce a healthy crop in a optimum production will be there, and better yield will be there. And for the future strategy, if you could see in the integrated nutrient management, this is my last slide to discuss with you people. That is efficient use of livestock and farm waste, especially livestock manures and farm waste. We need to efficiently utilize instead of burning them. So we need to convert them into the nutrient itself. And adoption of improved composting techniques and production of quality manures is important, very important aspect to be remembered. And installation of the biogas plant and the utilization of the biogas slurry to the crop production, that is the enormous load of microbial, beneficial microbial load will be adding to our soils in order to sustaining the soil health to a greater way. And efficient use of urban waste like garbage, sewage effluent, and the sewage sludge, night soil, and industrial waste to be effectively utilized for the proper composting methodology. And later on we need to use those manures or the compost to the crop production. That is one thing. And adoption of agroforestry and silviculture practices, where we can able to generate lot of on farm waste, leguminous waste as a crop residue, and they can be utilized, put into our regular crop production. And green manuring and biofertilizer usage should be must, and should that should be our routine practices for the crop production. And research base for the soil type and most suited crops, and development of efficient and cost effective IM practices for soil crops and cropping system. This is our research team definitely every time, every year and there, every minute. So we scientists, we definitely work upon this thing, efficient and cost effective IM practices for the soil and crop and cropping system. So all these things day to day, whatever the research inventions they come out from the research team will be published, and farmers have to get aware of all these newer invention and cost effective methodologies, so that it is possible to manage our soil. So that I could even conclude my presentation. My talk of today is integrated nutrient management practices should will be it will be a good practice for the farmers. They have to practice in a better way, so that it is possible to maintain our healthier soil, apart from without declining any crop yields further. Thank you for the agriculture information system for the opportunity to discuss all these things with you people. Thank you very much. Thank you once again, madam. Thank you. Madam, are you there?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Thank
Yeah, I
you
have
very much.
completed. If there are any queries, I can take up the few queries. Uh,
Yeah. Actually, the duration was supposed to be for 30 minutes. Anyhow, I'll try
yes,
to take some few questions.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
just 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are the key principles of INM that farmers must follow when planning nutrient management for major field crops in dryland conditions?
Yeah, especially in iron practices, one has to go for, he has to understand its soil. That is one of the key principle where is soil nutrient status. You should have to, especially in dryland condition. So different crops require different nutrient demand. That's why he has to understand the nutrient demand of the crop. That is one of the key principle. And again, another thing is the soil test based nutrient management. So he has to go for once in every three crops, he has to go for soil testing, especially for major and secondary minor nutrients. Then he can go for the nutrient management. Then only if you understand the nutrient status in the soil, then only it is possible to go for the integrated nutrient management practices, especially in the dryland situation.
Okay. And how should farmers decide the right combination of organic, inorganic, and biofertilizers for their specific soil type?
Yeah, especially a farmer at this point of time, definitely. So recommendations are there for different region and for different states and different crop wise recommendations. Many of the agriculture universities, many and ICR, it has given the bibliography like package of practice for the crops. Which is saying that nutrient management recommendation like organics how much, inorganic how much, and biofertilizer how much, that he has to practice. That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
So he can also go for this thing research and all. So you will come to know, you will be having that is 50-50 ratio. So nutrient, for example, 10 kg is the nitrogen demand for a particular crop, means you can meet out the 10 kg by 50% of organic and 50% of inorganic. That is the ratio. And any of biofertilizer will be, it is had on like for 1 acre it is 200 gram.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how frequently should soil testing be done in dryland regions, and which parameters are most critical for accurate nutrient planning?
Yeah, definitely. Very good question. So here, for under dryland situation, once in every three crops. So once in three crops, if he's taken like three crops he has harvested, means once after three crops he should go for soil testing. And for the irrigated condition, after every two crops he should go for soil testing. Okay. And another thing is that, so especially major components NPK and micronutrients, because nowadays almost all the nutrients are being depleted, especially in the dry land, always in and also in the irrigated conditions. So that he has to concentrate more on the soil health parameters, like apart from the NPK and micronutrients and secondary nutrients. So you should also go for the soil organic carbon content into the soil. If organic carbon content in the soil is more, means definitely soil is said to be as a productive. That's why he has also go for the organic carbon content, and also soil pH. Ideal soil pH is also very much important soil parameter. So first you should go for soil pH, soil organic carbon content, and later on NPK and micronutrients.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
What are the most common nutrient deficiency observed in Karnataka's dryland soils, and how can farmers correct them cost effectively?
Definitely, very good question. Here, almost all the nutrients are found to be deficient, especially NPK is the major deficiency we could see. Apart from that, the zinc and sulfur boron, zinc, sulfur, boron are more prominently. Most of the soils are found to be deficit, especially more than 85% of the soils are found to be deficit with these NPK and zinc, boron, and sulfur nutrients. And correction is again, so he has to regularly practice the integrated nutrient management practices, especially apart from using only chemical fertilizer, you can also use this organic manures through FIM or green leaf manuring, green manuring, and biofertilizer, and also crop rotation practices. So definitely, it will replenish the micronutrient deficiencies.
Okay. For major field crops like millets, pulses, and oil seeds, what nutrient application schedules do you recommend under moisture stress conditions?
Yes, definitely under moisture stress condition, we don't recommend any nutrients to be applied once after relieving of the stress condition. That is, once after drought is being alleviated, once the rain happens, we should have to go for the nitrogen and potash application for the crop plants, and also after application after drought period elevation, we should have to go for application of foliar nutrients, 1% potassium spray, 1% potassium nitrate spray for most of the dryland crops is recommended in order to overcome the drought stress. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And how does INM differ for crops like maize, ragi, groundnut, and red gram in terms of NPK ratios and
Come
organic
again with the
inputs?
question, madam.
How does INM differ for crops like maize, ragi, groundnut, and red gram in terms of NPK ratios and organic inputs?
Yes, definitely. Though maize, rice, and all, they are the cereal crops. NPK ratio it is 4:2 is to 1 has to follow for the cereals. And for the pulses, it is 1:2 is to 1. 1:2 for the pulses. So phosphorus demand is more for the pulses rather nitrogen, because they have inbuilt capacity of nitrogen fixation in the soil through symbiotic process. That's why nitrogen requirement for the pulses is less rather cereals. Yes, madam.
Okay. And what local organic inputs, that is FYM
What's your
compost.
question, madam? Come
I'll,
again.
I'll just I'll just put it in the chat box.
Okay.
Just one second.
No, no, no. Come again. Come again. I'm
Yeah,
running short with the time. Please spell out.
I put it in the chat box.
Okay. Okay.
You can read.
Nothing I couldn't see here. I
What
think
local what local organic inputs com, compost sorry, I'll give you what local organic input gives the best nutrient recovery rates in dryland agriculture.
what local input, especially, yes, very good question. Especially in dryland situation, lot of crops residue is going to be generated. That needs to be efficiently utilized as a mulching process, or can be directly applied over the soil as a covering the soil, which also conserve the moisture. And later on, it will slowly decompose, add to the organic matter pool. One thing, and that crop residue need to be used for the compost making purpose, and that needs to be utilized for the crop production in dryland situation. Apart from that, so whatever the crops, leguminous tree crops which then generate green biomass, like Camellia dubia and Gliricidia, all these things we need to use as a green leaf manuring. So that is a local input we can utilize properly for enhancing the soil fertility and productivity under dryland situation.
Okay.
Okay,
And
madam.
how effective are microbial constaria and biofertilizers like isophyllum, PSB, KMB in improving nutrient yield?
Madam, this question
Yeah.
long, so I'm running out of the time. Especially, I'm getting a too many calls from my house.
Okay.
So please
Okay,
wind up
that's
the
okay.
thing,
Then,
and
yeah, we will.
please put it into the
Sure,
chat box. I'll
sure.
let you know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lata,
Yes, ma'am.
for
Yes.
this meeting. Since you're running short of time, we'll closing the meeting.
Okay, thank you. If anything is there, and definitely I'll let you know the things, okay? So any
Sure,
questions and all, you can even WhatsApp or the mail, then I can give a proper answer to those questions.
yeah,
Please
sure,
excuse me
sure.
for this point of time, please.
Yeah,
Okay?
no problem. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.